This is my first YouTube video and it's just on my iPhone. It's nothing fancy, but I wanted to start this channel for a couple of reasons. One, I've owned my home for about a year now. In that time, there has already been so many things that have changed in the house and new things that I'm planning on doing. And one of the things that I realized is I really have not done a good job, even though I have taken pictures along the way. I haven't done a good job of really chronicling the journey and taking a chance to just document what's changing, why it's changing, and how this is progressing. And so I look back and I realize how quickly things have moved just in a year. And it's hard when you're in the middle of it to feel like things are moving quickly, because I'll be honest, I live in a danger zone. But when I think about just the number of changes in the last week, I realize at some point, if I don't start documenting things, it's really not going to happen. And we're gonna miss out on a lot of changes, and I will never be able to really reflect and see how things came together. If nothing else, it's for me and my family and my friends who've been along this journey with me. I also want to have a way of remembering the history of the house. This house is 100 years old and it has had a lot of owners. There will be things that change, but I also want to preserve a little bit of the home's history and tell the stories about what I know about the house as I go through and make updates, and also how I'm trying to preserve some of that history and why that's important to me, why I believe it should be important to a future owner of this property. My mom actually reached out to me this week, and for some reason she had looked on Google Earth and had looked at the street image that Google has of my house. And her comment to me was, "Oh my gosh, it has changed so much. The transformation is so dramatic." I've seen that image because of course I've looked at my property on Google Earth. I've seen it before, and there's trees that weren't even here when I bought the property. The driveway is different, and there's so many things that have changed. Maybe all of that's in a good way, but it's also, there's things that are changing and we need to tell the story. And so I want to be able to do that, because someday Google is going to take that picture down and there's just going to be a picture of my house the way it is now, and no one's ever going to remember what was here before and why it was like that. So this is my chance to preserve a little bit of Winter Park history. Lastly, I've been encouraged by family and friends to start a YouTube channel to document this journey. I'll be honest, I work two very intense jobs. I'm a consultant and I'm a realtor. I have a lot on my plate. So the idea of between the renovation and filming the renovation and editing videos, it can feel overwhelming to figure out how I'm gonna do that. I really wanted to do that, but I just haven't had the time. But I'm realizing that so many people who have supported me really want to be a part of the story and to see how things are going, and they come. And honestly, part of the fun part of owning this house and doing all of the things that I'm doing is sharing it with others and seeing the looks on people's faces when maybe they haven't been here for a couple of weeks or months, and they come back to the property and they see all the changes. Since I live here, I live in it every day. And yes, I do take a step back when something new is added and I appreciate it, but sometimes it's seeing it through their eyes that really makes a big difference in my appreciation for it, because they are really seeing the dramatic changes. I want to be able to do that and to hopefully share with my friends and family some of the journey and the behind the scenes things that I just don't have time to call everybody and tell everybody every day. I've owned my house for a year now, and I've already done a lot. And thinking about how I'm going to start this channel, I don't want to just jump right in and try and give you a full history. And I also kind of don't know where to begin with all the different things going on. So what I've decided I want to do is to just start this video to tell you a little bit about some of the ongoing projects that I have going on right now. And over time, what I'll probably do is go back and do some other before and after videos so you can see past projects and how a particular room or area of the home has transformed. That way you have an opportunity to see some of those past projects, even though it won't be in real time, but it will at least help preserve some of those details. What's happening at Bee's Cottage. So you're gonna hear me refer to Bee's Cottage that way, and I'll tell you the story behind the name in another video. Actually, several projects are already going on this week. So I'll see you in just a second and we'll start outside. Here I am outside, and one of the most exciting projects that I had actually happened last week. The original front door that I fell in love with when I first came to see the property, I had it fully restored. This is a great example of why I'm starting the blog, because the before and after is so dramatic. So take a look at the door before. So notice that the stain was faded. Hardware was completely tarnished. And there were even cracks in the front door, so I could actually see daylight coming through the backside of the door in places. I love that the knocker I fell in love with the first time I saw the house is now shiny and restored to its original glory. It's so beautiful. P.S. Sam at Door Renew, he asked me to name the knocker. So meet Bob. I did some research. This, I believe, is actually Minerva, the goddess of justice. So if I'm wrong, I have no idea. Just tell me in the comments, let me know. In other news, I have some trees coming down and I have a new fence coming. I know no one wants to cut down beautiful trees. So before anyone says anything, the city arborist has come out and looked at the trees, and it's actually his opinion that they do need to come down. So I will show you what's going on with them. So let's kind of zoom out here for a second and take a look at. So you can see here that there's quite a bit of vines going up the tree. So unfortunately, you know, over time, the vines in combination with just not the best maintenance routine on them, they have just received quite a bit of damage, and they're not quite as healthy as they once were. They are dead and dying, and you can see that they are leaning towards the house, hanging over my neighbor's house. So what's best is to take the trees down at this point and to make sure that we get something new that can grow healthy and continue to provide shade and shelter for little critters. So I'll show you from the other side, because the other part of this is the fence. Here's just another view of some of the trees that are going to be coming down. But when the trees come down, you can see that the trees are actually in the fence line right now. And you can also see that the fence itself, it's seen better days. And so wooden fences here in Florida, they do tend to take a beating in our weather, and so it is very hard to maintain them. Because I do have a pool in the backyard, and because we are going to be taking down a good section of the fence to take down the trees, I made the decision to go ahead and to work with my neighbor so that I can invest in, there will soon be a new white vinyl fence on this side of the property at least. So that is going to be happening all at the same time. All of this really has to happen kind of together as one big project, because when the trees come down, fence first has to come down to allow the arborist to come in here and to safely cut the tree and have access to the tree and not damage the fence or anybody that's standing near it. But they also need to be able to quickly remove the trees and then place the fence back up to keep the pool area safe and secure. So all of this really has to happen over the period of likely 2 to 3 days, because first they will come and take the fence down, then they'll take the trees down, grind the stumps, and then place the new fence up. So this is all one exciting little project. If you're wondering what's going to happen to this big tree here, the good news is for this guy is that he's going to stick around for a little longer. My neighbor and I talked about this tree, and he's made the decision that he wants to try and just trim the limbs that are on his side. So fingers crossed that that provides, you know, a good amount of safety for his property, as well as preserves this tree for a little longer. And ultimately, we are being told that it does have to come down, that because it has the split that's in the trunk right there, that ultimately that goes all the way down and it's not safe. It will have to come down at some point, but this will at least give my neighbor a little bit more time to save for that. Now we are upstairs in Bee's cottage. And I know you're probably thinking, big whoop, it's just a big white room. What could be going on in here that's that exciting? The work that's gone on just to get it to this point where it is all white. So we'll do that in another video. But this week, my friend and my helper extraordinaire, Nikki, she came by and she has been working on the trim. So she has been helping finish up some of the painting of the trim, which is actually a really big step, because once we have the trim finally painted, then that's really one of the last steps that we have in this space to be able to do some of the finishes like light fixtures and then moving the furniture back into the space and decorating. So this was really kind of a big milestone to get this done because this is a very big space just here in this living room area, and the entire upstairs has been almost completely repainted at this point. So we still have a few more rooms to go, but this was the big space with a lot of different angles in the ceiling and the walls, lots of different windows, which is great for natural light, just lots of trim work. I'm looking forward to showing you some of the progress over the next couple of weeks as we put some of the finishing touches on this space. But then honestly, just having AC itself has been a huge game changer up here this week. So, funny story. I actually met somebody who used to live in this part of the house as a rental long before I was even born. The first question out of his mouth when I explained which house I lived in and he realized that it was the house he rented, he asked me, did they ever get AC in the upstairs? I was able to proudly report to him and to you that the previous owner did install AC upstairs. But this is a 100-year-old house. And so you're gonna hear me say this probably a million times on this channel because this is a 100-year-old house. It has been through many decades. It's been through many owners. It's been through a lot of different contractors and handymen. And so there's just a lot of things where you go, I wonder why we did that. So let's talk about the AC unit. So where is the AC unit, you may ask yourself? Where would one put an AC unit in an upstairs portion of a 100-year-old house that was not designed for such things? Well, allow me to show you. If we just check behind door number 1, this is where the AC unit is. Now, at this point, you're probably asking yourself, Jordan, how is that possible? How did they get the vents in? How did they get the line set and the condensate line run? How did all of that work? What did they do? These are all great questions, YouTube channel. Let me show you. The condensate line comes out right here onto the patio. So if you're wondering, how did that happen? That is because if we are to go back inside and look at the closets, they ran the condensate line through the bottom of the closet. So there's actually like a little faux bottom to the closets where the condensate line and some other things are running through. So the pipes for the hose, for instance, is another great one, and the electrical that runs right here. So all of those things kind of run through the bottom of that little closet. Now, you see here, we have this lovely box. I'm pretty sure everybody has a box like this, right? So I'm sure, you know, you would totally expect that when I come over here and I open this door, yes, the line set. That's right, my friends. The line set. And yes, this is dirty. There's more to come about this part too, but the line set is actually right here in the threshold. Remember I said it's just, we feel so fortunate right now to have upstairs AC. Allow me to explain why. I was having some work done to try and repair the threshold and both the upstairs doors here to prevent any water from coming in right here at the threshold. And that is when we first discovered the line set underneath of the second door here. As the contractor was working on repairing threshold, he accidentally drilled a hole into the line. That has been a very expensive boo-boo. You know, what that has meant basically is that, you know, a lot of money in coolant because it basically drained the coolant out. So that had to be refilled. And then it also had to be soldered. That was an initial repair. Fortunately, the contractor did kick in to help with that. However, we thought we had that resolved, and Nikki was up here doing some painting projects this week. And I said, please make sure you're putting the AC on. It's too hot for you to be up there without turning on the air conditioning. And after 24 hours, it was still hot upstairs. And so we both investigated it. I called the AC guy, and Matt and Sean from Matt Reed Air Conditioning. They came out and they looked at everything, and after investigating, we did find that there was some sort of a leak happening with the coolant. They did not think at the time that it was related to the initial repair. That meant it was likely going to be the coil, and if it was a bad coil, just based off of the age of the AC, the cost of that versus the cost of getting a new AC, bad coil equals new AC unit. So I was kind of like, oh man, like I've got to take these trees out, and I've got the fence, and now I've got a new AC that I have to get. Okay, well, I had planned on some point to replace that AC, so I guess I'm doing that now. So they said, okay, we're gonna try and find the leak, and if we can find the leak, then, and it's just in the line set, we'll fix the line set. If it's the coil, we'll give you your options. So we agreed with that. They put a dye in the line, so that way we could try and find the leak, and they came back this week, and they were able to give me the good news that it is just another little pinprick hole that we believe is maybe on the bottom of that line set. That's the only place where they can find any type of leak. So it must just be leaking out slowly. The temperature has been holding. So we cut out there for a second, but long story short, they are going to need to repair that line set. So they're going to be coming back next week. We're going to make sure that the upstairs AC is in tip-top condition, and we're going to continue to stay nice and cool up here throughout the rest of our summer months and beyond. Guys, thank you so much. This is my first video. It's not perfect, but if you found this interesting, or if you're just curious about the journey and seeing how things progress, both with my video content and with the house, please give me a like and subscribe. If nothing else, you're just, letting me know that the work that I'm doing here really matters, and I really appreciate you for doing that. So I hope you have a great weekend, and I will talk to you in our next video. Oh yeah, and we pressure washed the pool deck. Oh, the end.